We are all aware of the risk factors when it comes to using drugs. The detriment to one's health cannot be understated when they become addicted to substances like cocaine and methamphetamine. Despite the health risks, so many people partake in these substances, and for those supplying these drugs, business is booming. At Real News, we were curious to find out where these drugs are coming from and how is it that so many people are touched by the plague that is substance abuse. The Australian Bureau of Statistics states that year on year, the number of drug offenders and drug-related crime increases by around 2%. And the most prevalent principal offence in Australia was illicit drugs at 79,070, or 19% of offenders committing drug-related crimes. With these alarming statistics dating back to 2016, it's not a surprise that 4 years later we're in what can only be described as a drug crisis. Real News took to the streets to find out what exactly our citizens had to say about this drug abuse, and we discovered a sad tale wherein cycles of addiction and rehabilitation were being repeated. For example, we met with two individuals who suffer or have suffered from drug addiction. One of these was an individual who was using methamphetamines for over 11 years. He said that his primary source of methamphetamine is from him making his own, stealing it from people, and from some people giving it to him. He also went on to say that methamphetamine had various negative impacts on his health and had caused him to lose weight. However, recently, he has reduced the amount of methamphetamine he has been taking and prefers cigarettes to other substances. As an elderly man, this has allowed him to get back into a better state of health and claims he is feeling better since quitting meth. A second example we have is from a man who says he has suffered from cocaine addiction, citing that from a young age his father supported the addiction and he had developed a cocaine dependency. After one stint in rehab, the availability of drugs was so profound that he did not buy a single drug before ending up in rehab again. This was caused by a widespread availability, and some drug manufacturers opting to give this man 4 kilograms of cocaine over 3 days. This led the man to be in a critical condition and his life has been forever changed. Real News field reporter Jesus Hernandez managed to conduct a phone interview with one of these drug manufacturers, and they had this to say.
Just to keep you anonymous, I'm gonna be calling you Anthony today. So Anthony, could you maybe run us through the manufacturing of and selling and distributing of methamphetamine?
Yeah, it's pretty easy, brother. I mean, a lot of us in Australia, can't deal with people take them.
Yep.
Even though it's not a shit off heroin, that's up to you. Pretty well,
So you're saying like an RV?
An RV, yeah,
Oh, okay, yep.
Where the miller's got shit, but, a bit more rundown.
Okay, yep. Yeah.
And then, I mean, we'll go ahead, you wouldn't believe this, we'll get ourselves a little meth kit kind of thing, and, there's...
Like a chemistry set?
Yeah, but you'd be surprised the amount of stores that just sell these fucking things. We can go to fucking 24/7 grab one of these things.
Okay.
5-6 grand, overall.
Yeah, and so with that meth lab, how do you do it? What ingredients do you need? Where do you go?
Well, go to find some smoke gloves and make the batteries. You buy them, I suppose.
Did you say some batteries? Some batteries?
Yes, batteries. They're like the same ones we use in the smoke alarm.
Oh, okay. Yep, the little 9-volt batteries. Yep. And then what was the other ingredients?
There's some fucking acetone in the kit.
Acetone, so like the stuff you use in nail polish.
Yeah, the cleaning.
Okay, yep. And then how do you go from there?
Well, pretty complicated. You find something nice and quiet, because big fuck off flame. You cut the battery open. Now it's fucking dangerous this, so I'm used to it. But you cut the battery open and you leak the fluid into one of the technical flask. You into one of the flasks, and you mix it with a bit of acetone. You pretty much ignite the flame, through the air vents of the van. Pretty much just mix it up, make sure you've got equal amount, mix it through till it, you don't want it to come too solid. You got to keep that nice hot, typical boiling point until you're ready to pull it off and bag it up pretty much. You pack it in a box. It should come out a nice blue.
Nice blue.
Blue.
And then could you go into detail on the distributing? Like, what do you do with it? How much does it sell for per bag?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends, when the pressure's up, you make a bit more money. I mean, when the pressure's high,
When there's more police around, are you saying?
more police, when the pressure's up,
The pressure's up.
You drive a bit more out for a bit.
Okay, could you give me a rough estimate on the prices?
Like, 750, maybe $1,000 per bag.
750 to 1,000 a bag when the pressure's up.
Yeah.
Okay, that is very interesting. What are your thoughts on the whole business?
I mean, shit, paid for this place you're sitting in right now. It's paid for many other places, nice exotic cars, foreign ladies, as they will. It's done well for a lot of people. It's like, I'll tell you, I'm not the smartest of all. I'm no Elon Musk, but here I am, a couple million in the bank account at the end of the day.
Okay, wow, all right, that's very interesting. What are your thoughts? Like, any other thoughts on the business? On meth does ruin people's lives, as you know. Jimmy, if you've ever seen Jimmy Green around, you might have seen him around the city. He was quite addicted at one point, and you see now, he actually lost a lot of weight to it. What are your thoughts on like addiction and how it affects the community?
That's the old guy.
Yeah, the old guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, we're just looking out for him. He was a bit chubby, that's all,
He's a bit chubby.
Look, people try the keto diet and exercise and all this shit. Why do that when you can have some focus and meth, Like,
Okay.
at the end of the day, it's a win-win. Have you seen him now? I mean, I haven't seen him lately, but I'm assuming just a fucking $1 million.
Yeah. And also ask another question. Are there any big organizations or gangs involved? Like you don't have to name drop any, but are there any big players in the business?
I mean, there's definitely big players, but that's probably as far as I want to go into that.
Okay. So there are big players there. There are big. All right. You don't have to name any of them if you don't want to, but would you name any of them?
Oh, definitely not. I mean, there's a few, groups of people that are.
Yeah, it does. A lot of money. A lot of money in the business. A lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Filling a lot of people's pockets, I believe. But is there anything else you want to say about the business?
I mean, it's on TV now. My mum. I mean, you can't stop it. So widespread, I mean, 24/7 will still be a fucking hit. There's no stopping it, I mean, but good luck, I suppose, for the ops out there. I mean, you're not gonna bust us on this one. It's unsolvable list. I mean, good luck. Get your money in you. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to end this interview here and say that thank you, Anthony, for the interview. And I think that'll be it. Thank you.
It is alarming to see how confident the sentiments from this drug manufacturer were, and given the widespread availability, it makes one wonder what is being done to combat this. Well, the Inspector of Victoria Police and self-proclaimed meth buster spoke at a press conference earlier this week where he highlighted some of the impacts of drug addiction and how Victoria Police was taking action against this. After this press conference, Inspector Silver revealed to 7 News that Victoria Police had immense success in cracking down on drugs and crime, citing that increased levels of seizing drugs and Victoria Police now scouting known locations where drugs are stored or manufactured. The message is clear from Victoria Police that they are taking this seriously and will be vigilant in stopping drug crime around the city. With all this said and done, it still remains a matter of time before we see the positive effects of the actions of Victoria Police and the reduced drugs on the street. Or will the sentiments of our earlier interview hold true that you cannot stop the plague that is drugs in this great city of Melbourne? Real News would like to remind everyone to report criminal activity to the police and to take care of each other. If you or someone you know suffers from drug abuse, then please seek help. Thank you, Doyle Brown, Real News.